It was a great day in southwest Colorado in September 2003 when a couple of good friends set off on a drive of epic proportions. They were setting off to drive on a road that most people had driven before. And true, they were doing it in a vehicle that most people had used to drive that road before. But what they were doing different was something that really no one had ever contemplated would be done.
Well, this is incredible. This is better than I imagined. The first time this truck's filled up with hydrogen in Colorado. I've used welding supply bottles in Colorado before, but it has the fuel tank strapped into the bed of the truck. So this is the first time we've transferred fuel into my high-pressure storage tanks and gone off-roading.
That's right, folks. He just said welding tanks, hydrogen, and off-road.
I think this is another one for the record books.
Our fuel station had been a simple 6-pack of hydrogen bottles, compliments of the Telluride Technology Festival. We leak checked, and then...
Apparently the highest altitude hydrogen refueling ever.
Now, don't get me wrong, we want you to try this at home. Just not like this.
You'll be able to hear it. That's transferring the fuel from these 5K cylinders into this passenger side tank.
Mr. Perlman, what do you think of this vehicle?
I think this is the sign of the future. Everyone will be driving these shortly. Maybe in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You
Anybody in Telluride could be driving this vehicle
right now.
Of course, when you're driving a hydrogen truck, you're bound to draw a little bit of attention to yourself. So you should be ready to talk to people along the way.
How's the exhaust smell?
Smells like I'm sitting in a sauna. I mean, my face is right in front of it. It's just pure, it's water vapor coming out. You can see on the glasses how they fog up.
Yeah, there's some steam and then you pull it away and it disappears.
You can see each cylinder as they fire, you get a puff of steam across those lenses. And that's water vapor coming out the tailpipe. That's the ultimate goal of our future economy, is to make the waste product from our energy use something that's useful to the environment and clean. The key to that really is hydrogen. So we can take that hydrogen from water, turn it back into water when we're done with it. And in the meantime, we store it, move it around, and use it how we want. In this case, we're going four-wheeling. Yeah, I know, the road to Bridal Veil Falls isn't exactly hardcore off-roading, but it is good practice for what was about to come. Because you see, a few months later, that's when we set off to really set a world record.
Is this 10,000 feet?
As far as we can tell.
We did it.
Yeah.
We made it to 10,000 feet on hydrogen. Boy, look, we're ready to go to 14.
Let's do it. So now Ty and I have known each other for only a few hours. But we've become good pals because we know that hydrogen fuel is the answer for the future. And we also know that Telluride is the place to prove it.
We continue our Crude Awakening series tonight with a look at alternative fuels and vehicles. One way to soften the pain at the pump is to go to the pump less often. Well, rapidly rising gas prices have sparked an interest in hybrids and other cars that don't burn so much fuel. And as national correspondent Frank Buckley reports, it's a case of history repeating itself.
Experts say, however, no one single alternative appears to be the silver bullet.
So there's been tremendous breakthroughs, but nobody's been able to make a real impact on the marketplace But they are looking at, with the cost of gasoline where it is, maybe these alternatives now make economic sense.
Finally, how about the hydrogen
has built a truck that runs on energy-efficient hydrogen. Ty Robinson just finished driving the first ever cross-country trip with an energy-efficient vehicle. He wants to raise awareness that hydrogen burns very clean.
A lot of people are talking about hydrogen in the future, but I'm not only talking about it today, I'm driving it today. And it doesn't have to be the future. We could do this today. With Terry's contribution, I am now going to drive from coast to coast on hydrogen, use it for fuel in my internal combustion engine.
Environment Now Foundation and the Energy Independence Now Coalition is proud to make a grant of $3,000 to subsidize that so that you're able to buy the fuel at the
$5,000 and only a few days of tinkering. Utah's freestyle skier Ty Robinson modified his 1999 Toyota Tacoma 4x4 into the intergalactic hydrogen car, or what he calls the poor man's fuel cell.
The only two parts I've had to put underneath the hood is one dry gas carburetor and one all-in-wonder pressure regulator, zero pressure diaphragm. The current vehicles we have, the internal combustion engine, we have all the parts available that are right off the shelf. You can put on that engine and make it multi-fuel capable.
Ty's truck can run on pure hydrogen.
We'll take a spin in an alternative fuel Hummer.
They're big, bad, earth-trampling behemoths. They take up too much space and eat way too much fuel, right?
We're here to show that it's not the vehicle you choose to drive, it's the fuel you use to power it.
Ty Robinson built this concept Hummer that doesn't guzzle just gas.
We can run on hydrogen or compressed natural gas, straight veggie oil, which is SVO, and biodiesel.
Alternative fuel tanks in the back enable this 94 model to run for about 2,000 miles non-stop. Up front, just twist a knob to toggle between fuels and improve mileage. You can even use regular diesel fuel if you want, but why bother?
The stock Hummer, when you buy it from the factory, gets about 7, 8, maybe 9 miles a gallon. So we're getting, with this vehicle, close to 19 miles a gallon now.
Not bad.
Of course, if you're trying to be conservation-minded, you don't normally start with a gas guzzler like this.
There isn't really anything that's easy about this beast.
Right here we have the standard 6-liter V8 from General Motors that comes in the Hummer H2s and Chevy Silverados and express vans, vehicles like that. There's been a fuel system installed on this vehicle that allows it to run on hydrogen or natural gas, and all that's done to the engine is we've got a high pressure regulator, a fuel gauge to show what fuel you've got, a transducer to tell the pressure, and another set of injectors. That set of gaseous fuel injectors delivers fuel to each cylinder of the engine. The injectors are right there, and they go through little hoses, and there's taps into the intake manifold, so the little hose goes right down by the intake valve of each cylinder.
As we set out that fall to set a new world's record, there were a few things on our mind. One was the rising price of gas, up to about $2 a gallon now. And the other was the hill. We knew hydrogen had never been driven to these heights before, and we were taking along a safety vehicle to make sure. Bridal Veil Falls had been a real cakewalk compared to what lay ahead on the Tomboy road. Getting up to Imogene Pass required going through some rather tricky scree fields and some serious steeps. Yet in the back of our minds lay the underlying sting that, whether we were successful or not in our endeavor, our efforts would not be recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, because they don't track what kind of fuel you use. And so here, high atop Imogene Pass, we set a new world records for a hydrogen-fueled vehicle. We've driven up here completely on hydrogen gas, compressed into a tank in the back of Ty's truck. And he filled up in Phoenix to have enough pressure to get all the way up here. But the engine had done spectacularly well. We couldn't be more pleased.
Got a 50-50 blend in this one.
Since we had driven all the way here, and I knew that there was a higher spot we could get to, we decided to go for it and make sure that we were holding the record. It's a good thing we went when we did, too, because a week later, snow closed down the pass. Yep, that's right. This is the spot. 13,200, give or take. And so, with that mission accomplished, we were pretty happy. We had driven higher than anybody else on hydrogen fuel. And even though Guinness didn't really recognize it, wasn't all that concerned that we weren't polluting in the whole process of getting up here, we knew we hadn't, and that was good enough.
So, Ty Robinson, you set a new world record. Now what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go to Telluride!